Why are celebrities so outright with their with their devil worshipping? Like they're just before it was like it was secret, but now it's they're okay with letting everybody know that they're worshiping Satan. Like, I don't know what's up with that, but I mean, you see it in the concerts. Have a lot of witch themes and demonic themes. A lot of these types of things. So they do it right in front of our faces, and before, at least they did it behind closed doors. So I just want to say this is a story for entertainment purposes. It's just my opinion. I don't have proof of anything. So please use your own discernment, as with anything, of course, in life. So, excuse me. So why do the negative practice their dark offerings out in open for us to see? Why was it done in secret and considered just rumors of paranoia before? Now, rituals are done publicly, brazenly, stadiums and concerts, and live broadcasts, with attempts to commercialize and glamorize death culture. They are utterly desperate to harvest your energy, and this is why they're doing it. People are waking up to the fake news, injustice, and oppression, and they are seeing the corrupt leaders and their bold attempts to gain even more control over the general public. And nefarious groups see that people are waking up at an astonishing rate. They know that they are running out of time, out of options, and out of dark places to hide. We have taken note of their cunning while gaining our own understanding, and now we are relearning and reclaiming our own sovereignty and our own personal power. Regaining it. These are 3D physical advanced higher intelligences, alien reptoids of nitrogray, who also serve their Drax AI masters as Kahn, Orion, and Anunnaki. They think they're gods. They did alter DNA, but they are not our creator. These groups have already used chips, nanobots, to infect, war, to control, destroy other star systems, attempt to connect and plug them all into an AI slave hive mind, to mindlessly serve and siphon to feed all kinds of negative energy made by humans. As the fallen angel light bearer, according to Lucifer, he says he works for God, but providing catalysts or creating situations that temper our spirit through suffering or provoking, tempting our souls with this either strengthens our fortitude or to deny our temptations, or at least teaches us moderation, or where moderation is needed. Life is learning. Our mistakes highlight for us illusions we have about ourselves, as well as pride, as pride makes our ego one of our easiest targets. Satanists adopted a Luciferian to glorify themselves as doing dealings with a fallen angel, but even a fallen angel at least has the opportunity to redeem himself in the end time. These creatures don't. They don't have souls. They're not. I have reason to believe that they will be given an opportunity to gain a soul if they decided to switch polarities when they leave their physical 3D. I think that may only be an option if they're not dispatched while in battle. For instance, if attached to a human being and being a large-ass nuisance, where this opportunity may be presented to them as a trade-off, since all experiences in the grand scheme of things ultimately work for the grand creator. But many continue to oppress humans, and their creator, Kahn, has been cut off from source for so long. He may have been created in the pulled-up negative energy coagulating in the negative space below the zero-point linear planes of the universe, and this energy has completely severed itself from source. I don't believe the energy ever believed it ever was connected to source, so these creatures don't have what we call souls. They're not divine creatures. They're literally parasites. They're laying underground, projecting their consciousness out astrally as shadow beings in order to scare people. They usually attach to these humans by their cords, portals, hooks, and energy implants because they literally need humans to survive, either off their fresh, negative emotions which are keen to instigate within the human, such as inducing instant anxiety while lurking in the periphery. They will also either outright physically or visually shapeshift, creating instant fear for humans by projecting hateful, angry feelings also, and whispering accusations in one's ears to incite paranoia against fellow humans, and worse of all, telepathically putting self-loathing statements straight into one's mind, making them feel distressed and depressed and lots of guilt and shame, which I personally experienced. The telepathic part, well, all of it actually. To go on a tangent, the best defense to this particular thing is to be high vibrational and having spiritual hygiene, but also just knowing yourself, what thoughts are yours and what's not. Here's some in case you're plagued with negative thoughts. Your own higher self will never be critical of you. Your ego or something else will. Voices in your head that say you to yourself instead of I to yourself are not you. Back to the other way they use us to exist. They also eat human meat, and they're just one group that has been committing anti-human behaviors and promoting death culture. Creates of labs producing clones that they project their consciousness into so that they can offend human divinity with their horrid vulgarities and crimes against humanity while having a human avatar. That's why some humans can commit unthinkable acts. It's because they're not really human. Orions have learned how to project into soulless avatars they made through interbreeding and DNA manipulations. These soulless avatars are what some call human versions of NPCs or background people, and can be born or manufactured. I only mention these negative background aspects of these entities to give an idea of what is trying to violate our soul sovereignty. And I want to add that not all of these types of alien ETs are actually negative. Some of them are not. It seems like they're getting more, they're hiding less. Maybe they're getting desperate, frantic, or in overdrive, especially considering that they're outright performing rituals right in front of us. Duh. Well, it's because the satanic rituals are being performed on us. When we, our eyes, see, for instance, if we are in the presence of any ritual taking place live, like in real time, in real life, it's because our energy is being taken from us right then and there. With the powerful ascension energies, I believe they are being reckless with the open knowledge of their intentions, their open practice of Satanism, and all of their rituals, such as negative energy harvesting, like at the weekend Sam Smith and Taylor Smith's concerts. They're all obviously harvesting energy from their audience, as well as people who have watched John's screen are also exposed. Beyonce had heavy mind control themes and subliminal messages and flashing on her back screen in her concerts. It's a contradiction to the free world law, and that's called tacit consent, which means permission is assumed. In the sequel, given consent with silence or non-disagreement. By simply staying quiet, we are allowing our own infringement just by not speaking a word. It's a very useful and important loophole that negative polarized have used since the English language was invented for the purpose of word spell manipulation over the human population, unbeknownst to us. The word, idea, or concept that it refers to / represents is the loophole called tacit consent, which allows pretty much anyone to skirt around their sovereign or soul sovereignty. So they say out loud what they're going to do. If, for instance, a taker says it in a roundabout way where one thinks it's sarcasm, a skit, or satire, jokingly the victim believes that it's all it is, says nothing else about those intentions, and the taker says what they were going to do, what their intentions were. The victim goes back to what they're doing and assumes nothing. That is tacit consent right there. The assumed consent is taken from the one who assumed that no consent was even asked of them. So basically what is happening when you see representations of rituals is actually in real time in the moment, your energy is being harvested right then. It happens because your eyes do see it, and you aren't verbally saying to these entities, you may not siphon my energy through exposure to this ritual. I do not consent to energy harvesting at any level, at any degree. Free will, that is the one stipulation here in this reality. Everyone must adhere to free will for all, so that's why nefarious groups must tell the public what their plans are, usually through sci-fi movies and Simpsons, etc., so they can lawfully infringe on our free will, non-consent, or your tacit consent. Afterwards, most of us don't question it, but I'm informing you right now, after experiencing in any way some ritual or heinous act as topic, line, or within movies, commercials, or concerts, say out loud with your voice, I do not consent to siphoning of my energy, I do not consent to the financial sweepstakes, etc., whatever it may be that you think is wrong, or if you see a ritual that happens to go on in your presence, just know that your energy is focused. Just know that it is surely an attempt to steal your energy. They are more brazen now because they are more desperate and in need. Every single voice counts. God and earth hear your prayers when you are alone in your room watching TV. Your vote of what happens in your reality is most definitely taken into consideration, I promise you. Maybe not exactly the first, but the third or the fifth time saying, I do not consent to whatever fill in the blank, you will see results. Please do not let anyone just take your energy to fuel their fill. When you listen to certain lyrics and songs, they can be affirmations in a way. Also, in another way, you're giving your consent by your voice uttering the words when you sing it. For whomever to do this, or even just say telling reality in the universe that this is what you want. If you accidentally say something you don't literally mean, then you can just go back on it, take it back, or cancel it out by verbally saying, I cancel, revoke the last statement, etc., but retain your power at all times, please, please. And how do we do this? How do we retain our power and our energy, especially when at every turn and opportunity there are seen and unseen beings lying in wait like alligators at El Gabongo for the slightest slip or a loophole to get our energy. Consuming this energy is how they survive, so it's a matter of life or death to them to harvest our energy. Without it, they would cease to exist, so they have to. I mean, they're going to. So, well, over time looks for them, or patiently inconvenient and planned by them. Through the ends, we were descended into lower dimensions where duality exists. Here we learn the lessons of self-awareness, again, through contrast by experience, what we like by feeling what we don't like. There's no light without dark, and so therefore we all have different opinions, beliefs, and dislikes, of course. With that comes disagreement, and of course we all have free will. So, long ago, most of us were selfish, stubborn, and believed we were always right. Perfect recipe for vanity, pride, and then power comes in, and the groups, entities that feed on our energy, plot while we war. And while we are warring, we tend to lose the length of our lives, like the lifespan goes down. The average human lifespan goes down with plague, famine, and high mortality rates, and all the while the negative non-humans have considerably longer lives, and therefore while we weren't looking, they made changes to our species' history and edits to our Bibles. So our perceived or believed memories and histories from oral tradition are downplayed, and our spiritual propensity is manipulated, and then down through history it became nothing less than controlled. Fortunately, even on our human language, it has been altered to be a language of all word spell, with the intention of causing us to inadvertently, unknowingly, and easily give up and away our personal power and personal sovereign authority with any mindless sing-song, lyric, or some common phrase that we may have overheard somewhere. Excuse me. It's important to say out loud that you do not consent to things that you don't agree with, so the universe knows that you're not in resonance with the last horror movie you watched, for example, Michael Myers in Halloween, or the last gangster rapper emo rock song that you last heard. It's very simple, just that I do not consent to psycho serial killers in my reality. We're all fractals of a one infinite creator, and yes, we are only human. We aren't perfect, but we are perfect the way we are. And yet we are also divine creator beings with pure authority in our voice. Our voice creates our reality using word spells. Our voice creates form out of ether. Each pronunciation of each letter expels a flow of air out of our mouth with the breath and sound, creating very unique toroid shapes. And each of these shapes themselves also have a general meaning and idea. The throat chakra is also the seat of the soul, the metaphysical part. So supposedly, the back of the throat is where the consciousness of the soul enters the body through the mouth of the God chakra, and where it resides, not in the head as one might think. To muster the most shallow utterance is to literally give a godly command. Simply stated, a vocal command cannot be overestimated or overlooked when asserting one's own desires and empowerment. So, we retain our power by our voice. So, as I said, it's just talk. It's not my intention to infringe upon anybody's mental peace with how you organize your thought concept, to weird anybody out or bring up unfamiliar things to confuse people. I just want people to be in their power, and I want people to know what to do when it comes into contact with certain situations, and just know that your voice is the most important thing. And all you have to do is just say that I do not give you the power to do this. I do not agree with this. And so by saying that, you can avoid a lot of fears. Fear is the main biggest one, because you lose fear because these things will try to scare you. And if you don't give them the permission to even be in your area, they won't even scare you. And fear is one of the things that was affecting humans so drastically. In most of our cases, we have all at some point given away our sovereignty, consciously or unconsciously. We are all made to sign pre-birth contracts in the birth canal in order to be born. Entities use sacred geometry under tourist attractions to pull energy from the crowds. Even our paper money has what's called the Babylonian money spell cast upon it to harvest energy through negative aspects. Thought forms like the money, though the consciousness of money itself is actually a positive consciousness. These contracts are the quickest, easiest way to put us in fear so they can get their energy loose. If you have ever just sat alone in your room and felt a feeling or welling up of fear come up, some paranoia or anxiety, you probably had an entity attached in your aura field or presence that felt at liberty to incite fear within you. Now the quickest, easiest, fastest, most underrated and little known about process or action to reverse all of these predicaments is taking back your sovereign power and free will. Contract revocations and cancellations are verbal declarations revoking all contracts from all lifetimes and all time and space, calling your guides and spiritual support team to witness and enter the declaration into the Akashic record. One can similarly seek remedy and resolve in a court of equity when one feels morally wronged by any other human as well, and one is asking for an energetic exchange of energy for what was taken from them. In my experience, though, it usually somehow influences the other person to do the right thing. The spiritual contract revocation, they revoke any tacit consent and revoke any permissions from any lifetime or anyone or anything that harvests your energy, even in dreams. There will be a playlist soon of spiritual revocation declarations for anyone who feels in fear, under oppression, or compelled against their will in any way. If everyone claims their power these entities wouldn't be able to exist here. And I invite anyone to reclaim their power. You will notice a huge difference, even in your energy levels. Thanks for taking interest in your soul sovereignty. We are divine creators and have the divine creator within us. Use your voice and authority vested in you by the God as a living co-creator and divine light grid programmer. Quick tips: use positive statements when you're doing affirmations like love is welcome instead of like negative. For example, anger is not welcome. When declaring forgiveness in sessions, use the word release instead of or in addition to forgiveness, the word forgiveness. Like something with the word release has more of an effect than the word forgiveness. And breathing in deep, filling up your belly, and breathing in through the nose. And when doing like a conscious breath, those are with the mouth. Daily gratitudes and groundings really help. Infinity breath exercises quickly opens the crown chakra. And if you hear or say something that doesn't resonate, just say, I do not consent to, for example, chemtrails. If this content piques your interest, please feel free to subscribe, however, due to the content and effects of censorship. I'm not sure if the channel will last, but as long as it's up, I will say what I believe is true. I'd like to know other people's thoughts, opinions, and comments. Please comment if you like. Thank you.